what Ghazali is really doing here is he's recentering the heart. Is that the heart is true knowledge. The purpose of all of the disciplines, of all of the ulum ad-din, is purification of the heart. They're the kind of tools or support for that. And he was really scathing about the scholars of his day because he said people had lost the inner reality of Islam and focused on the outer things. And this is natural in the course of human affairs, is that the inner reality of things is lost. And this is why prophets are sent to every nation and tribe to revive, because the inner reality is easier to lose than the outer. Right? You can maintain the outer for a certain amount of time, but once the inner is lost, the outer is just a shell. And so this is what Ghazali is saying. So Ghazali also has a section in the Marvels of the Heart where he talks about how mystical knowledge comes. And he talks about the nafahat, or the sweet breezes that blow. And we could think about this, as we've mentioned, the Sufis often use the analogy of the pouring, right? And of course, somewhat scandalously, the Sufis call the divine asaqi, right? Which means the bartender, asaqi baqi. The one who poured before is pouring more. Is there a leak in you? In other words, that the divine reality is pouring these openings, these experiential awakenings at all times. But human beings that aren't receiving those, it's because their cup is not prepared. Right? So in the tavern slang of the Sufis, the cup is the heart. The bartender is Allah. Sometimes the sheikh is called the bartender, right? And is pouring. And so drunkenness, right, that Rumi and others are famous for speaking about, is the experience of this unveiling that is so ecstatic that one appears drunk and one actually, in a certain sense, loses awareness of other things, like a drunken person is unaware. And so they appear drunk. We'll get to that when we talk about the mystical states in subsequent lessons. But Ghazali is saying that the nafahat, these sweet breezes that are blowing, that you catch a whiff of, is another analogy. These are the experiential realities that God pours into the heart of the believer once the believer has prepared the heart to receive them. It's very important, and we're going to talk about virtue. But if you think about this, why are most hearts not receiving what's being poured if the divine cupbearer is pouring? Well, most hearts are turned towards worldly matters, so their cups are upside down. So even if there's pouring into, the cup is upside down. Or he says there's a lid on the heart. So it may be turned up, but there's a lid on it. And those are for people that have misunderstandings about the divine. Right? If the lid is off and one has truly understood, the prophetic teachings, and one is seeking the divine reality, if the cup is already full of other than that divine wine, right, then even if a little bit is poured, it's going to be mixed with this filthy liquid that's already in the cup, right? The cup is dirty, just like the mirror that needs to be polished. The cup needs to be polished. And this is removing the vices and acquiring the virtues, right? This is purification of the heart, purification of the cup, which is the heart. Then this is what we focus on, is polishing. And then it receives. And this is why the Sufis are often saying, don't be looking for mystical experiences. Just focus on polishing. If you do that, those things will come, right? You have to be on the lookout for the diseases of the heart, right? Or those dark spots in the cup, and then the awakenings will come. If you're just looking for awakenings while neglecting your heart, you're getting it backwards.